Well, mine was basically a follow-up and has been partially answered while I was typing it. I didn't realize it though. It was about the user input, because it's cool that you follow up with users and check that they basically how they use the program. But of course, every user is very different. So you might end up with a problem that, depending on the cognitive functions, they don't use the product optimally. So you would need to have follow-up training. Do you do this as well? Is that included in the package? Like, is that part of the development? Which I would think so.
Yeah, absolutely. So a good book I would recommend is what's it called? I think it's Making Users Awesome. I think it's from someone called Kathy Sierra. Really, really good book. And in this, it looks at the fact that really you have two learning curves, right? I mean, often we develop products, whether it's software or not, and then there's a manual or an instruction thing that comes with it, right? On how to use the thing. Like if you bought a camera, then there's a thing to tell you how to use a camera. But there's nothing that comes with a camera on telling you how to become a photographer, right? But that's what people actually need, right? and I think it's the same here, right? We're giving people a product or tool to help them doing something, but okay, if the tool is intuitive, they can learn how to use it. Maybe they need a user manual or something, but really we need to teach them how to use it to make their work better, right? That's what they really want to do, right? If they don't see how it makes, if they don't see the benefit to them, they're not going to do it, right? So that part, it has to be, if it's not self-evident, it has to be taught in some way, right? I don't know if does that answer your question, Jürgen?
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Because I was wondering if you don't get caught up, into trying to fulfill all the, wishes, and in order to get a good, review or like, feedback.
Yeah.
You basically need to satisfy everyone, and then you end up, not being able to serve everybody. So I like the user education a lot. Thanks.
Because a good example just to finish on this point is a project I worked on some time ago where it was for the finance department, right? And they're used to just have the single numbers, right? Like how much is this? What's the cost of this? What's the revenue of this projection and stuff like that? And then we added a whole bunch of statistical analysis to it and data science. And so now they ended up with like Monte Carlo simulations, if people know what that is, so you end up with not a number but a distribution, right? So you can make a judgment call on the error bars around things and how statistically relevant something is, etc. But they didn't really know how to use this because they've never done it before, right? And so the point was not to teach them how to use the software. Oh, to get the graph, you click there and then you press this. It's like, no, how do I make my business prediction now that I've got a graph rather than a number, right? And how do I make that report to my boss, right? It's got nothing to do with your software. But if you don't do that, then they have too much of a barrier to adopting your product, right? It's just, well, I'm just going to keep using the Excel spreadsheet I had before, and that's it. So if you don't do this adoption thing, then it's not gonna work really well.